part 2 of the CFAM project. This is Julie Kretschmar again. So continuing our major findings, another major finding is nutrition. Miss P eats a whole foods plant-based diet. She also cooks in this manner, so Mr. P also eats a whole foods plant-based diet. She says she really originally did not start eating this diet, but she has been a vegetarian since she was in her teens and has progressed to a totally vegan diet as an adult. She states, though, that she still has a large amount of cultural foods such as rice and beans in her diet. She's always had adequate food, really no major issues there. Since they were in a relatively middle-class family in Argentina, they did pretty well. She is very well connected in her church, and she volunteers at the local outreach center at her church once a week. And so she feels very connected in her community and her as well as with her fellow church members. She states that she also tries to walk at least 3 miles a day in the morning and walks probably at least 5 times a week. If she doesn't get that walking in, then she tends to try to make up for it in the rest of her day by walking as much as possible. As far as stress goes, though, her husband's illness and her change in circumstances and work have provided quite a bit of stress in her life. She said that her spirituality actually plays a big role in her coping with the stress in her life. As far as major findings in pregnancy and childbearing, Ms. P said that she actually had her 2 children at the local government hospital in Argentina in Buenos Aires. She did breastfeed both of her boys as was normal in her culture, and she did get pregnant not long after she was married. She also says that in traditional Argentinian culture, a lot of people are Catholic, and so they don't necessarily believe in using birth control. However, she and Mr. P are actually Seventh-day Adventist Protestant Christians, and so they did believe in using contraception, and after 2 children, they had decided to not have any more children. As far as major findings of death rituals, Miss P is also, like I stated before, is a Seventh-day Adventist, so to her, death is a sleep of sorts until the second coming of Jesus, when the person who, if they believe in Jesus, will be raised back to eternal life. So though while death can be very difficult and grief is definitely a part of her, it doesn't necessarily, she has hope that she'll hopefully see her loved ones again. But she did say that in her culture that a lot of times the family would do a wake at the home of the dead person, which is where everyone would come together in the community and bring food. They would sing hymns, they would remember the dead person, and so they'd spend a lot of time socializing and almost supporting one another after this person had passed away. They also would bury pretty quickly because generally embalming was very expensive, and so a lot of times people wouldn't necessarily pay to do embalming, and so they'd bury people pretty quickly after they passed away. As far as spirituality goes, Mr. and Mrs. P are both Christians, and they're Seventh-day Adventist Christians. Miss P believes very strongly in having a relationship with Jesus Christ, and she frequently has prayer during her daily life with her meals, and just any time she considers her walk with God as like God is her friend and someone she can rely on and talk to. She says she reads her Bible regularly, she attends church, and being involved in her community are very important aspects of her spirituality. Healthcare practices for Mrs. P are, she believes that her health is her personal responsibility and that her lifestyle is very important and vital for having good health. She believes that diet and lifestyle are like medicine, and she believes in natural remedies before using Western medications. So there is a time and place for both, she believes. Mr. P is obviously in a nursing home right now and is on hospice care, so she understands the need. She understands that there needs to be a balance, but she also believes in doing as much as possible naturally before going to medicine. She also believes in prayer and that God can heal and does make things better. As far as healthcare providers go, Ms. P believes in using healthcare providers when she cannot treat herself with lifestyle medicine as before, and she's more likely to use a healthcare provider who has similar beliefs about lifestyle medicine. But she does believe and trust her healthcare providers and does tend to follow, she says, what they agree to and recommend. So Ms. P, this concludes the portion of talking about Purnell's 12, the major findings of Purnell's 12